Sorry about that. My camera ran out of power as usual when I'm trying to record. I had to recharge the battery, so I've got a new memory card though, so I shouldn't have no memory card problems. But yeah, as I was saying about Tails, it's a great tool to remain anonymous and also to protect your privacy from governments and hackers and other undesirables from messing with your computer. But yeah, I want to talk about the targeting now. So this last week it's been non-stop, really heavy targeting: ambulances, police, fire engines. I think it's because I went on holiday and they're trying to, I don't know, reinforce the targeting because I've had a break from it, you see. But yeah, it's been very hectic, the targeting this week. I've had police cars racing past with the sirens on today. I've had constant people walking past me with one hand in pocket. I had some weird shit happen to me, which I'll go into in a minute. I've had my computers hacked, as you know. I've had helicopters flying over me constantly. Yeah, the targeting has stepped up quite a lot. So, this is an example of how they have 24/7 surveillance of a target's life. So, I've just gone to the shop and it's about... I can't see the fucking clock. 1 minute. It's 9:30, so it would have been about 9 o'clock when I went out to get some food because I hadn't had tea yet. And this is how the targeting has been making me go to bed later and sleep longer in the mornings. I don't know why, but that's what it's been doing. But yeah, basically, I'll give you an example. That's what I was going to do. So I go out and I'm walking down, and immediately when I go out, there is a Pizza Hut moped coming down the road. And I think nothing of it, but it puts that thought in my head of that bastard, that fat bastard, the moped perp, right? That fat cunt, because that's what you are. So as soon as that thought's in my head, I don't know, I guess they planned it out. I go down the road to where the shop is, and that moped perp is coming down the road. And they did this yesterday. I was coming back to the flat, and exactly when I got there, the moped perp was coming down at the exact same time that I was entering. So they're trying to reinforce that because he hasn't really done it so much. So they kind of changed the tactics. They're still getting him to come outside the house, the flat, but now it's more... As well as that, they're trying to do the same time exit entry with him, and they're trying to get him other places. Because when I was first being targeted by this fat cunt, I was having him constantly where I was. So I'd be walking down the main road, and this fat cunt would ride past on his moped, and then I'd be coming back, and the fat cunt would be there. So it's that constant, what we call the what's it called? Something drill. I can't remember what it's called. There's a proper name for it. Repetition drill or something like that. So they're doing the same thing again and again and again and again to drill it in your head. And this is all part of the programming that they do. So, and it's like that. I don't know why, but that Pizza Hut guy had a similar jacket onto this moped perp. So they're trying to kind of bring that feeling of the moped perp into everywhere I go, and then they reinforce that by having the moped perp going down to the shop. So I go down to the shop, and there's a kid targeting me with one hand in his pocket with his hood up. So he's with a girlfriend, and she goes into the shop, and he stood at the... They've been targeting me with children today a lot. Like, some people might not say a 16, 17-year-old's a child, but I would say it is, because they're not fully developed into a man, you know what I mean? They're still quite immature. So they've been targeting me with like teenagers today. So I'm going to the shop, and this guy immediately stands by the doorway, touching his face and looking at me. And that's something they've been doing a lot today. They've been driving past, say with one brake light, one headlight, and every time they go past, they've been touching the face, like the nose and shit. So I've been targeting them back with something I'm doing, and I don't think they like that. But so yeah, I go from the shop, and I leave the shop, and there's another guy with one hand in his pocket coming when I'm leaving the shop. So this is the 24/7. They've probably got people posted out on the streets or in cars 24/7 just to target me. For the first time in a long time, just going a short distance down the road, I didn't see any one headlight or one brake light cars, but I was still targeted. So I can't even go for a 2-minute walk without being targeted. So, and they've been doing the noise campaign, as you would have heard in my video with the computer. You could hear that banging, couldn't you, like the hammering? And that's been going on for the last 2 days. They've been hammering and banging, and the usual bullshit. And this perp's been getting his wife to target me, like she's been turning up where I go. And it's the same faces. It's that bald cunt as well. He'll be there when I'm going down the to the shop. This bald cunt will be there. So they've been targeting me with the same faces, you know what I mean? And that's something you'll notice as a TI. You'll see in your local area, you'll see the same faces popping up. So for example, that guy with the Rottweiler that I've talked about a lot in the past, he was targeting me today. As soon as I'm coming home, he's walking down the street with a blue jacket, because blue is what they've been using. So I'm coming down the street and he's got a blue jacket on and walking that dog and just kind of looking at me. So I just kind of look at him and look at the dog and then look forward, as if to say, don't bother me. Because they've been trying to instill that. They've been trying to instill a phobia of this guy and this dog. I guess they want me to be afraid of him for whatever reasons. Today they've been trying to instill phobias. So the main thing that stands out today is I was coming out of this gate to the road, and there was this group of lads, right? And I don't know if they're trying to get me paranoid about black guys, but I've been targeted a couple of days very heavily by either Asian or black guys. So I don't know if they're trying and get me afraid of black guys, but either way, that seems to be the case with what they're trying to do. So there's like a group of black, I'd say teenagers, some maybe younger, but I go out the gate and they start giggling, so I'm like, yeah, this feeling like an episode, because this is the street theatre. So one of them looks at me and then starts walking towards me. So I see him out of the corner of my eye walking towards me, and he's smirking, right? So he's kind of smirking at me. So I just, I'm not gonna be a pussy, because they want me to either ignore it or, when it comes to people getting in my personal space, that's something you don't do, okay? So I just turn around and I say, why are you coming at me like that? And he says something ridiculous like, oh, I was just going to have a piss. It's like, this is by the side of a road, so you're telling me that you were going to have a piss right in front of me? That's just stupid as it is. So, this guy was like 16, 17 years old, right? Maybe 18, I'm not sure. But he wasn't a fully grown man. So I just looked behind and they're giggling and laughing. Like, I got the feeling like it was a dare to do something. But I tell you, if you ever try and do something stupid to me, you will regret it. I assure you, you won't like what I've got for you. You will not like what happens. So I wouldn't even try and fucking do some shit like that. So, but yeah, that happens, and then I walk past, and because it's all to get me to react. You see, they want a reaction. They want me to get mad or get scared. Maybe they want me to hit this guy because he's younger than me, so they're gonna believe him, aren't they, if the police come, right? And there's a whole group of kids there to back him up and say I attacked him, because that's what they want. They want me to, because they've done this many times, and they use teenagers a lot to try and get this reaction. Because I've had it so many times up here. It's the same old tactic to try and provoke and then act like nothing's happening. You know, when I ask what the fuck's going on. So I go in the flat and I'm meeting someone in town, right? So I go in the flat, I come out, and this guy's there again in the distance down the road. So I'm like, okay, I'll just start walking off. Immediately as soon as I walk off, this guy, he starts following me, right? So this guy starts fucking following me. So I'm like, oh fuck. I'm just like, fuck this shit, right? So I just go and lean against the wall because I'm sick of this shit. And I'm just like looking at him. I'm not trying to provoke him, but I'm just looking at him trying to figure out what he's doing. Because, you know, I know he's a perp. I know he's been told to do shit. So he just keeps walking and then he starts like gesticulating and shouting. So I'm like, okay, whatever, I ignore that shit. It wasn't at me, but see, that's what they do to kind of make you feel uneasy. So he comes up and someone chucks a can on the floor and then he just starts shouting, don't chuck that fucking can in the road. You know, he's on his big man kind of tough guy, hard rock kind of act. You know what I mean? Full of testosterone bullshit, like, you know, because he's 18, thinking he's hard and he's the toughest guy in the world. So I'm just posted against the wall and I'm just watching him and he just glides past. He doesn't even look at me. So I'm thinking he's accomplished whatever they told him to do and now that's it. But it's also part of the mind games where they'll do stuff to kind of make you think, am I being paranoid? Are they really doing this to me? And this is an example of that because they won't look at you or they'll act normal afterwards because then they want you to think, did I just imagine that? Maybe it's me. But I'm headstrong and I know what they're doing. I know it's not me. I know the kind of tactics you're trying to do. So, you know, let me just turn this shit on here. So I know the tactics. I'm just gonna upload this in a minute. Shit, fucking type password in now. I'm not gonna film it so you snakes can't see the password. Fuckers. Alright, but I've got 2 sets of passwords for you bitches. It's not working. Oh, I've got the password wrong. So yeah, it's like shit. Maybe low battery, I don't know. But that's just an example of how they play the mind games and do stuff to kind of fuck with your head, basically. So yeah, that's just one small example, and it's been non-stop for the last week, and the reason it's been more is because I'm in touch with a TI, and if there's one thing they hate, it's TIs getting in contact. They'll do everything they can to try and stop, you know, a TI from being, you know, being in contact with other TIs. They can't stand that. So I've been targeted severely due to that, and I've had plenty of directed conversations saying stuff like, oh well, you're gonna go back in the van or they'll arrest you as soon as you go in. And this is when I was doing something, you know, actually I won't say because I don't want to say too much. I don't want to let the whole world know what's happening. So, but yeah, this is just the games they play and the psychological tactics that are used on a targeted individual. But this is every day, by the way. This isn't like sometimes, for me anyway, this isn't like occasionally, once or twice a week I get this stuff. I get this every single day. Every single day without fail I get targeted. The only time I haven't recently is when I was on holiday. That's just me with a cough. Sorry. I'm not targeting anyone, it's just me with a fucking cough. But yeah, I was away on holiday and that's the only time I wasn't targeted, because it was a very difficult. I was targeted there a bit because they do target you still, but anyway, I'm gonna end this because I'm nearly on 50 minutes. But that's the only time I wasn't targeted.